What happens when you have deep desires to kill?
Her name is Ethan Crumbley, and I'm going to be the next one.
Like in the case of Ethan Crumbley, a mass shooting suspect facing multiple murder charges in Michigan.
We are all here because of me. My actions were because of what I chose to do. I could not stop myself, but I am a really bad person.
On November 30th, 2021, 15-year-old Ethan opened fire at his Oxford high school, fatally injuring several students and teachers. Ethan reportedly used his father's 9mm handgun, who called 911 once he found the gun missing. Within minutes, first responders arrived at the scene. They evacuated everyone to safety.
Yeah, we're here. We're not willing to take that risk right now. We're not taking that risk right now. Okay, well, come to the door. Look at my bag, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Bro.
Tragically, it was too late for 3 students who died at the scene. A 4th succumbed to his injuries later at the hospital. Ethan was arrested shortly after the shooting.
You don't stop it. What I heard you stop it. Why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you stop it? I know what you stop it. Please 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 stop it. Why didn't you stop it, God? Why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you stop it, God? Why didn't you stop it?
His parents were called to the station where they confronted their killer son.
I don't think he needs to have so many questions right now.
However, Ethan's only concern was his cat, Dexter.
I love you.
Apparently named after a psychopathic TV character. His parents were shocked at their son's lack of remorse. Ethan was charged with first-degree murder and terrorism. At his trial, the prosecution laid out the seriousness of the case.
But everyone else is here in this courtroom today because this defendant made the decision to kill 4 other people and to take their lives instead of his own.
Ethan's journal and chilling text messages containing a list of things he needed for the shooting, including pistol mags, a mask, and a knife, were presented as evidence. Ethan had written his desires for the shooting in graphic detail.
So in the margin there, it says, I wonder what life in prison will be like. There's 1 9mm pistol, extra mags, and then to the right it says half blood, and the word underneath that it says fuck. And then 2 to 5 Molotov cocktails, 1 to 3 powdered, I believe it's NOS flares, pair of gloves, a hat, jacket, mask, knife.
Ethan also mentioned that he wanted his victims' parents to suffer.
I want for the parents to see their kids burn to ash and bawl their eyes out.
There were also mentions of a failed kidnapping and murder plan of a girl next door.
I started making a plan. It was a plan to kidnap and kill her. I talked to find out where she lives and found out she lives a 5-minute walk away from me. I made this plan to break in the BR bedroom at night and kidnap her with an industrial-sized garbage bag.
A week before the shooting, Ethan did a bunch of Google searches about prison sentences in Michigan. One day before the incident, he recorded his thoughts and plans for the shooting.
Walk to the dividend between the boys and the girls' bathroom. I will have my fire jacket on, and I will walk around somewhere, and I will shoot a bullet in their school. I'm going to open fire on everyone in that hallway. The hallways are too jam-packed. I will try and hit as many people. I will reload. And I will find people hiding. I'm going to teach them a lesson of how they're wrong.
Ethan went on to say how he couldn't get the idea of killing people out of his mind.
I thought about this a lot.
I can't stop thinking about it.
His school principal took to the stand where she recounted how she desperately tried to save one of the victims.
It was crushing, and I had to help him. I just needed to save him for his mom, that I needed him to hang with me. I could taste his blood. There was so much blood. It was all over me.
Ethan initially pleaded not guilty on the grounds of insanity, since he had several chaotic meltdowns in custody.
I know she's suffering. Please stop it. Please stop it. Please stop it. Please stop it. Why didn't you stop it?
While at one time he asked for help, on another occasion he kept yelling, "Oh God, why didn't you stop it?" and "I am sorry."
Why didn't you stop it, God? Why didn't you stop it?
A mental health expert said Ethan had a psychotic episode and deemed him mentally ill.
Someone who's saying, God, why didn't you stop it? And that's exactly how psychosis works. You engage in an action and somehow you don't understand the outcome of the consequences. He's having a panic attack and a break with reality.
A school senior also said that Ethan was often bullied and picked on.
He was like, it's a shooting at the Oxford High School, and I was like, nah, this is a joke. He was like, no, bro, this is serious.
Do you know any of the students? Do you know who this 15-year-old is who did the shooting?
No, I do not know who he is, but I have seen him around the school, and he's a kid, you know, he's a regular kid that goes to school, you know. He's been picked on and stuff like this, so when a kid has been picked on and stuff, people's bullying him, you're gonna get this. You're gonna get this reaction.
However, Ethan later confessed and pleaded guilty to all charges.
Is it true that your actions on November the 30th, 2021 caused the deaths of Madison Baldwin, Tamir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling?
Yes.
At his sentencing, family members of the victims addressed the killer of their loved ones.
As I don't wish death upon you, that would be too easy. I hope the thoughts consume you and they replay over and over in your head.
While the mother of one victim wished for a worse punishment than death, the father of another asked the judge to sentence him to life.
I feel strongly that the individual should never be allowed to walk among his peers again. And this is why I'm going to ask you to lock this son of a up for the rest of his pathetic life. His blatant lack of human decency and disturbing thoughts on life in general do not in any way warrant a second chance. My son doesn't get a second chance, and neither should he.
A remorseful Ethan spoke to the victims' families and apologized for the pain he caused them.
My actions were because of what I chose to do. I could not stop myself. I am a really bad person. I really am sorry for what I've done, for what I've taken of them. I cannot give it back, but I can try my best in the future to help other people, and that is what I will do.
Ultimately, it was time to learn his fate.
Since the court is finished, he'll serve the rest of his life without the possibility of parole with the Michigan Department of Corrections, credit for 8 days served.
Ethan Crumbley was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 24 years. Later, his parents, James and Jennifer Crumbley, were charged with involuntary manslaughter for failing to secure the handgun and ignoring the warning signs of their son's behavior. Ethan had previously claimed that he paid James to buy him the gun which was used in the shooting.
Is it true that you asked him to buy that firearm?
Yes.
Is it true that you gave him your own money to buy that firearm?
Yes.
CCTV footage also showed Ethan practicing shooting with Jennifer at a local range with the same gun, just days before he killed 4 people. The parents fled after the shooting and were arrested while hiding in a friend's shop. Both were convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. This was the first time in American history that a parent was criminally charged for a mass school shooting committed by their child. While Ethan Crumbley will spend the rest of his life in prison for shooting up his school, this is Jameko Hayden, who's on trial for murder in Kentucky. On December 19, 2019, police said 19-year-old Christian Gwynn was gunned down while walking down a street near his home in Louisville. The killer fled the scene in a stolen car, which was later found in the possession of a man named Jameko Hayden. Hayden was arrested and charged with first-degree murder.
Hey, when you say murder charges? Yeah.
You have a charge of murder from December 19th of 2019, so no contact with the family of Christian Gwynn.
The case never went to trial, and 2 years later, Hayden accepted a plea deal where he pled guilty to lesser charges of second-degree manslaughter, theft, and possession of a handgun by a convicted felon. At his sentencing, an emotional mother addressed her son's killer.
There's no mathematical number that they can give you that can make this heartache and pain go away that you caused my family. 10 years is not enough because you're still breathing, you still get the lids, you still get visitation, phone calls, and mail.
Just as the grieving mother was ending her statement, Hayden smirked at the family.
You killed my son, Christian Gwynn. You took a son away from his father and a brother away from his siblings, and for that you will never be forgiven.
This is when things got heated.
Amen to your family and people out here in community.
Is it funny, bro?
Yeah.
Is it funny?
Sir, you're...
Is it funny? You want to crack a smile, man?
Sir,
You want to crack a smile,
I'm
bro?
gonna have to ask you to leave. I wish the judge would give you forever.
Don't laugh at man.
I wish you would get forever for taking away my son.
Both the victim's father and the defendant were removed from the courtroom. After the dust settled, now it was the victim's sister whose emotions got the better of her.
The great man, and for that, I hope forever your days are hard and you never see the sun again.
Ultimately, Hayden was sentenced to 10 years in prison as part of his plea deal. This is Alexis Avila, who's on trial.
Okay, did you lock it up, seal it up?
With the hair tie.
I'm sorry?
With the hair tie.
With the hair tie?
But I don't even think it stuck because it was broke.
Put it there, did you throw it there? What did you do?
What do you mean?
I mean, the
like
trash.
in the trash? When I tossed it
Is it
in
a
there.
normal trash can, like one of those that they pick up, the city picks up, or a bigger trash can, or what?
I was in shock. Like, how could this happen?
In fact, Avila said the only thing she recollected from that day was leaving the police station.
Prior to the police station and going to the hospital, you don't remember anything that happened in that space?
But the prosecution was having none of it. They made Avila admit to her crimes in front of the jury.
You can confirm that the video that this jury saw is of you throwing your own newborn into a dumpster. The contents of this bag were used by you, as seen in the video, to throw your newborn into the dumpster. Isn't that true?
That's the bag that was in the video.
And that's because that was you committing this crime, wasn't it?
Yes.
Even though Avila maintained that she came to know about her pregnancy one day before tossing the newborn in a dumpster, Stephen Astorga, Avila's ex-boyfriend and the father of the abandoned baby, revealed both Avila and he knew about the pregnancy since April 2021, 8 months prior to the incident.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of law?
When did you first get the news that Miss Avila was expecting?
Around April of 2021.
April of 2021. And how did you receive that information?
By pregnancy test.
And did you observe the pregnancy test, or did someone tell you about the pregnancy test?
No, I observed it.
After hours of deliberation, the jury eventually came to an unsurprising verdict.
Verdict. We find the defendant, Alexis Avila, guilty of abuse of a child resulting in great bodily harm as charged in count 1, signed by the forepersons. We find the defendant, Alexis Avila, guilty of attempt to commit first-degree murder as charged in count 1, signed by the forepersons.
At her sentencing, Avila addressed the courtroom, where she showed remorse for her actions.
I regret that I had to miss out on every first milestone the baby had and that I deprived him of motherly love. I regret that his first hours of life were traumatic, and I regret that he will always have this in the back of his head.
Before deciding her fate, Judge William Shoebridge made some poignant remarks.
You've given yourself a life sentence of knowing what you did with your child. And you've also given your son that same life sentence.
Ultimately, Alexis Avila was sentenced to 16 years in prison. As for the baby, he's now named Saul and lives a healthy life with his father's family. How much time would you get behind bars for stabbing your parents? Like in the case of Tia Skinner, who was on trial for the murder of her adoptive father in Michigan. In the early hours of November 12, 2010, authorities received a chilling 911 call. On the phone was 17-year-old Tia Skinner, her voice trembling in fear and panic.
911, what's the location of your emergency? Okay, what is your name? So you're downstairs?
Yes, I don't want to go upstairs. I'm too afraid.
Okay, what is your name?
Tia Skinner.
Authorities also received a 911 call from Tia's mother, Mara, who pleaded with them for help.
What is your brother saying?
My brother is helping. My mom is scared.
Tia's brother, Jeff, then took over the call, saying an intruder had stabbed his parents.
What's your name?
My name's Jeff.
Jeff. Jeff, tell me exactly what happened.
Someone came in and stabbed my mom.
Somebody came in and stabbed your mom?
Yeah, my mom and my dad, yeah.
Jeff also mentioned that his father was badly hurt.
My dad has lacerations to his abdominal. Stabbed in the chest.
Okay, well, we need to control the bleeding, okay?
Paul Skinner, who suffered multiple stab wounds to his chest and abdomen, died shortly after. Police arrived and rushed Mara to the hospital, where she received multiple knife wounds all over her body. Investigations revealed that two intruders wearing masks climbed in through the bedroom window and ambushed Paul and Mara in their bed. It also led to the shocking truth that Tia's demeanor that night on the 911 call was completely fake. Police arrested and charged the three teenagers with murder and conspiracy, including Tia Skinner. The other two were 18-year-olds Jonathan Kurtz and James Preston. At their trial, the prosecution said Tia was the mastermind of the horrific attack.
She designed the plan, and although she didn't climb those stairs that horrific evening and use a knife to stab two individuals 25 times, she certainly aided and abetted in that offense.
They claimed the attack on the couple was in retaliation, as they did not approve of Tia and Kurtz's relationship. This was backed up by an investigator who said Tia's behavior when they arrived seemed stoic, despite the horrific attack on her parents.
No, her demeanor would not give me any indications that there was anything amiss.
Also testified in court, describing the brutal attack she faced that night.
And I lifted my head and looked toward where his voice was, because it was dark in our room. And at that moment, I realized that I was being attacked, and he was being attacked.
Eventually, the jury convicted the three teens on first-degree premeditated murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and attempted murder. At their sentencing, Mara Skinner addressed the two teens who attacked her and killed her husband.
Screams and our cries for help went unanswered. You heard them, and you chose not to stop, not to have mercy on us.
Then, Mara turned her attention towards her adopted daughter, Tia.
Tia, you completely puzzled me. I thought I knew you. I thought we shared the same feelings, values, loves, and life. But I guess I never really knew you at all.
Now it was time for the teenagers to learn their fate.
For the premeditated, deliberate murder of your father, you are hereby committed to the Michigan Department of Corrections to be imprisoned for the remainder of your life without any opportunity.
Ultimately, all three received life sentences without parole for the murder of Paul Skinner, including his daughter. In the case of Carlos Jimenez and Zachary Tost, who are facing murder charges in South Carolina. According to reports, Carlos, Zachary, and Carlos's brother Daniel Jimenez were involved in a 2019 shooting outside Belton Woods' apartment in Anderson.
Police say it happened Monday night. Carlos was standing outside Belton Woods' apartments with his brother Daniel and Zachary.
Police said a car pulled up to the trio and shots were fired by both parties. Zachary was shot in the arm while Daniel tragically lost his life.
Brother was murdered. They
killed him in front of us.
Even though police were not sure who actually fired the fatal shot, both Carlos and Zachary were arrested and charged. At their bond hearing, when Zachary's bond was denied, he tried to make a case for himself.
Mr. Tost, I'm going to deny your bond.
Sir, please.
Can we please just talk, sir? Before you do that, sir.
Before you do that.
Sure, Miss Lieutenant, come on up and investigate a bond if you would come up, please.
Along with his mom, Zachary pleaded with the judge to reconsider.
Sir, it was self-defense.
Well, Well,
And
don't
we're
tell,
not trying-
let me.
I'm not trying. He's not a flight risk. He's not a As flight soon as risk. they called me yesterday and When told me they you- was coming to pick me up, We I got cooperate.
All right, Miss.
You have no
you, Miss
worries
Tost.
of him being here. I will sign my life over for
Miss
you
Tost.
that he will be here in court.
Okay.
I'm just letting him comfort him know that he will be here.
Zachary claims that they were in fact the victims in this case, as Carlos broke down in the background.
We've got a situation here, Miss
Yes, because
Tost.
there are people out there. We that- are the victims, sir. They're the victims. His brother was murdered. They killed him in front of us.
All right, I'm
They
going
shot
to
him.
suggest
And
to
those
you.
people have hands that run deep.
The judge held firm, but Zachary's mother was not about to give up.
3 days is a long time. He has had his antibiotic now. Please, we will bring him here. His brother is here. We won't cause no trouble. I'll be Let him at call us, my come brother's on. house. He'll be there.
The mother and son duo kept pleading their innocence, but the judge had a word of warning for them.
Everything's being recorded here. I
And
don't
I'm
want you.
thanking God it is.
Okay, but what I want to caution you about is anything you said here that might hurt his case can be used against him. So my suggestion is to hold all this till the preliminary hearing.
Ultimately, the judge denied bonds for both Zachary Tost and Carlos Jimenez.